Welcome, everybody, to Otter Fox Productions' final review of Secret of Mana 2018 HD release from Square. This is GeoOtter. We've got Phoenix and Chrono right next to me. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Alrighty, so we're going to sit down and do a final review of The Secret of Mana. Before we did a review of what we expected the game release to be. If you haven't checked out the video yet, go ahead and check out our link below. I'm going to show you what we were expecting to see. And we talked about 7 different ideas that we wanted to cover, including controls, gameplay, the environment, graphics, voices, combat, and the overall authenticity of having a new game come out as a remake of an old treasure. So, without further ado, let's get right into our review of Secret of Mana. So we're going to go ahead and start with our controls. And Chrono, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the controls that you noticed different between the original SNES version and the 2018 PlayStation 4 version?
So, we honestly didn't have any real change to the control, which in and of itself was kind of the letdown. No effort was made to improve on the menus inside of menus or add descriptions to what items did. So it kind of led to a problem there. They had a capability and opportunity to lessen the learning curve by identifying items and improving upon the system, adding some hotkeys. And instead, we ended up paying $40 for what we already had.
So what's an example of a control issue that you see here?
So the main control issue here kind of comes down to the combat, right? So we're talking about you have to hit an opponent, you wait, and then you have to hit an opponent. The menu items, as you see, it's, what's currently equipped, what's not equipped. There's a small icon that shows who's equipped, and there's menus inside of menus that right there.
So one thing I noticed about this game already that is another problem that I see is I don't know what those chocolate bars do. They don't say anything about what they do.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So you have to learn by what?
Experimentation.
Trial by error?
Alright, moving on to gameplay and pacing.
Bats have the ability to cast Balloon, which doesn't hurt you, but it stops you from moving.
Ew.
Like that. You just kind of go, what?
No, this is not something that this game needs.
So, in that clip, it's very obvious that when I was playing, Geo did not really enjoy the fact that half of that entire battle was just me standing there with a balloon over my head, and didn't really engage me at all in the gameplay.
Eat the candy.
I want to stop the poison.
But you're not going to.
Fine, whatever.
Ta-da! We had to sit there and wait for that long for you to eat the candy?
That was another thing. Once again, there's a lot of that stuff. That's what I was hoping they were going to fix. Because it's just like, I understand back in the SNES, it didn't have that much processing power. You've got no excuse now.
Thanks, NPC that I need to talk to for reasons.
And that one. And
Which-
that one.
They're busy
And that one.
staring
That
at the
one.
walls.
So that pretty much wraps up the issue that we have when it comes to the gameplay and pacing. As you can just see that I wasn't having too much fun with the actual gameplay because I spent way too much time complaining about how long it took to kill an enemy, let alone even progress forward from Dungeon Room A to Dungeon Room B. And that's because I didn't even know where we were going, and every time we opened up and reloaded the screen, the enemies came back. So it just became tedious in my eyes. So that's what I'll have to say about the pacing. We're going to move right on into the environment of the game, the world that we're playing in, and everything you can catch yourself on.
And look at this rock! This beautiful rock right here, okay?
F that rock!
I have to explore this place already, and now you're gonna put obstacles my way? Like, I can't get over this rock!
I love me some rocks, but I don't need to be jumping over rocks and stuck on rocks and NPCs that are in my way. I have to go this way, and I'm stuck in the way.
And here's an example of bad level design.
Out of my way!
Excuse me.
That was comedical.
Comedical.
Ah! Flowers!
The biggest threat to this game whatsoever.
Urbis Nemesis Radiculi?
Yes.
In addition to this.
These... This is stupid.
Yes.
There's nothing useful about this whatsoever.
Let's find her. Alright.
Bye.
Don't hit the switch. Ah! Jizz.
And this is my last point about the environment, is that there are some things that you should interact with, and there's some things that your character should not be able to, like, walk through, and a simple graphics designs of making your weapons not go through objects. It may be a little petty when it comes to something like that, but when you're paying $40 for a game, you should consider that as a simple addition to what made the game good in the beginning to where it is now. So we're going to move on into graphics as part of before. Phoenix, why don't you tell us what you thought about the graphics of the game?
So, in addition to the cutscenes and the CGI cinematics, they didn't necessarily improve or detract from the game, but the overall graphics of the game matched the charm and aesthetics of Pandora and the Secrets of Mana. But I don't think it really deserved the steep $40 price tag that came with it. I do feel like they did well with taking the original image and popping it up. But all they did was give it some more shading to make it feel like it had a third dimension, even though you can't rotate your camera. So it just looks like a third dimension. And some cutscenes when you sleep at certain inns after you've done some things. They're interesting additions, and it's to make you like the characters more, but I don't really think it was necessary.
And we're going to go ahead and move right into voice acting and scripting. Phoenix, why don't you tell us a little bit about how well the voice acting played over for Secret of Mana?
My thanks. I am Undine, the water elemental. In return for your kindness, you may use my power.
Yeah, I think I did better than the people that they hired. The voice acting was not a positive addition.
Whack that. Something sharp.
I know! That's why I have it equipped! We need something sharp.
Yes.
Like an axe! Otherwise, we'll never get through!
And that's exactly how I expected my character to sound.
But yeah, the voice acting that we did was significantly better than the people that they hired. Again, I don't think it was worth the $40 price tag.
To waste time.
I had to go explore this area to find somebody who told me to go explore this area. Do you see the problem yet? If not, there's a problem with your problem. Too bright!
And let's go ahead and talk about the combat for a minute. Chrono, why don't you give us your thoughts on the combat of the game?
So we ended up having a bit of a steep learning curve for those of us that hadn't played it, obviously, which detracts from your ability to enjoy the game and have fun with the game. And there were issues with... so if you just skip combat, which you can, plainly, then it creates a difficulty there that's obviously not intended and not necessary. It didn't really flow well with the game. And once again, how intuitive is the combat when there's never any kind of explanation as to how combat should flow, and then you've got being, stunned for 9 seconds?
Yeah, 9 seconds. Look how long it takes for these enemies to crawl at you, all the while. If they were at least attacking you or doing something, that would at least be stimulating.
And then you had these moments where it's not necessarily specifically a stun, but because of how they implemented the combat, you end up getting stun locked.
And the Mana Ant, I mentioned in the preview review that we did, that the Mana Ant has a hitbox. They face forward. Well, apparently his breath weapon still comes out of his rear as well. So that's another thing that really let me down.
Yeah, it's so simple to implement, and you can tell the difference between SNES processing power and the abilities of the PS4, but this is just poor design when it comes to remedying issues in the SNES that were there because of its imperfections. Now you don't have that excuse. And here's an example of how long it takes to kill a plant.
Things that you should kite. A kite and bosses.
that wise words, Geo. Wise words.
I don't think anyone has said them better.
And once again, this was just the example of, if you don't know, you're just going to sit there and try and attack the creature, and you're doing very little damage, which extends the fight.
Let's go ahead and get into our final thoughts here. So, Phoenix, what are your final thoughts on The Secret of Mana 2018?
I wanted to love this game. It still has a place in my heart, but for the price tag that they put on it, I am extremely let down. There were many things that I, even as a fan of this game, didn't like and thought could have been better. And with the capabilities that we have now, it should have been done. I am significantly let down by this game.
Chrono, what do you think about The Secret of Mana?
The only good thing that I can think of is the fact that instead of having to pay $200 or $300 to go out and buy the SNES game on eBay, this gives you an opportunity to guarantee you can buy it for $40, normal price range, I guess. But it's still too much to ask for when it really comes down to what they did compared to the last one. Like me, I still have the SNES game, so why would I pay $40 to play this game? Honestly, in my opinion, don't do it. It's not worth it.
And then for me, I've never played Secret of Mana from the SNES to begin with. And I felt really positive about the game when Chrono and Phoenix were telling me about it. I look forward to playing it. They even made me the main protagonist because I matched the guy's character and personality beautifully. But I digress. When I started playing the game, it just was really slow, and I was trying to be patient with it, expecting that it was going to speed up, and the bugs and the issues that I saw were just kind of being worked out, and it just was consistently poorly designed all the way through. Would I play the game? Yeah, I think the 3-player multiplayer is a really cool concept back when it came out on the SNES. Nowadays, there's just no excuse for making a quick buck off of an old but goody idea. So with that, I also recommend don't purchase it unless you are fully and wholly devoted to the game, which you can hear from Phoenix and Chrono's perspective. People who are very invested in Secret of Mana were disappointed. So thank you guys so much for watching OtterFox Productions' final review of Secret of Mana. If you guys are interested in watching us play more of this game, please let us know in the comments below. Please let us know what you thought of our review. We look forward to doing more in the future, and keep your eyes peeled for more OtterFox Productions material. So say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.